Welcome to the Spinning Rock Podcast. Conversations for the curious, the seekers, and the builders of tomorrow. With your host, Utkal. May these episodes move you, challenge you, and remind you of your place in the story. Please, enjoy.
All right, welcome back to episode 8 of the Spinning Rock Podcast. I'm going to do my week 5 picks. I went 9-6-1 last week, pretty good. That leaves my overall record on the year at 31-31-2 against the spread. So exactly at 500 for the year. Let's see if we can get above 500, and I'm starting to get a better grasp on the football season, and trying to see if I can get above 500. I got UFC 320 in the background right now. Yuri and Khalil Roundtree Jr. coming out right now, and then we got the two title fights in Merab Sandhagen and, of course, Pereira and Ankalaev too. So excited to watch that. Go over these picks with y'all. Let's get into it. So it is Saturday night right now, and I am starting the week out 1-0 because I did pick the 49ers plus 8.5 versus the Rams on Thursday Night Football. I just thought Robert Saleh would be able to keep it close. And, Shanahan, McVay have that historical rivalry. So I feel like their games always just come down to the wire. So getting 8.5, even with Mac Jones at the quarterback, was just, a lot of points for me. And what a gritty performance by former Patriot Mac Jones and former Patriot Kendrick Bourne with over 100 yards receiving. I wasn't the biggest Mac Jones fan when he was a New England Patriot. I am a Patriots fan, and I don't know, he reminds me of the ultimate, I think he's the ultimate game manager quarterback. Like, he's going to stay within the system, and, that's why Kyle Shanahan wanted him, because he knew he could run his system really well, but he's never going to make that third level throw, or I never saw him as a confetti quarterback, so I didn't necessarily hate him. I just knew I wanted to move on from him and get back in that QB carousel and try to find a guy who's a force multiplier and can win a Super Bowl. And I didn't think he would be able to, even with the best team ever around him. So those are my thoughts on Mac Jones before, but what a gritty performance on this game. I mean, he had over 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he played amazing. He just stayed within the system, made all the right reads, and got hit a lot, and just kept coming back, and he really won them this game. So great Thursday Night Football game. Who would have thought? A lot of people probably picked the Rams to blow out the Niners, but they covered that 8.5 and won the game outright. All right, moving on to the Sunday slate. All right, so we have a 9:30 Eastern Standard Time international game again this week. This game is in London, and we have the Vikings taking on the Browns. The Browns are starting rookie Dylan Gabriel this week, and the Vikings are actually coming off of that London loss against the Steelers last week. So they're going from playing in Dublin to London this week. So they stayed in Europe for this, and early kickoff here in the States. So I'm actually taking the upset here. I'm taking the Browns plus 3.5, 3 in the hook. I do think the Vikings can win this game, by a field goal, but I'm just trusting the new quarterback. Um, New quarterback bump that the Browns are going to get. I think Joe Flacco is just turning the ball over a lot. I think Dylan Gabriel can kind of settle them down and just run the system that Kevin Stefanski wants him to. And I think the Vikings looked pretty bad last week. Their offensive line was completely hurt in that Steelers game. And I think Myles Garrett's going to get after them. And I think it's going to be a tough morning for Carson Wentz over there. So I'm taking the Browns plus 3.5 against the Vikings in this international game. Browns plus 3.5. All right, the 1 p.m. slate. The first game I have is the Dolphins minus 1.5 versus the Panthers. Even though the Dolphins lost Tyreek Hill, the Panthers might be the worst team in the league, and they got absolutely destroyed by the Patriots last week. So I'm just expecting the Dolphins to kind of figure it out a little bit, get rolling under the Mike McDaniel offense. Jalen Waddle can kind of fill in that one slot. They had Darren Waller catch 2 touchdowns last week. Haven't heard his name in a couple years. So I think the Dolphins can, they can beat the Panthers by 1.5. So I think this is one of the easiest bets of the week for me, and it's a lock. I got Dolphins minus 1.5. All right, next, this is another lock for me, and I'm kind of shocked that the line is this low, and that is the Cowboys minus 2.5 versus the Jets. I guess the thinking here is that the Cowboys aren't that good, but I mean their offense looked incredible against the Packers on Sunday Night Football last week, and the Jets are 0-4. So I guess the thinking is that there's no way the Jets can go 0-5, right? But they're the Jets, so they're gonna jet. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if they start 0-5 under Aaron Glenn, who everyone, apparently loved, but everyone told me he's a great head coach, but, starting 0-5 probably. So I'm taking the Cowboys minus 2.5. I just think their offense is going to roll. Jets defense is lackluster. George Pickens, a couple touchdowns. Jake Ferguson, big night. Dak Cooks, Cowboys win. Cowboys minus 2.5. All right, next we got the Raiders versus the Colts. The story with the Raiders is that Ashton Genty's Michael Myers stance is back. Yeah, the stance he used back in college where he just stands up straight, looking like a serial killer. He started using that again in the last game, and he was phenomenal. He had the best game of his short career so far, but if he's running the ball like that, I think the Raiders got a chance in every game, and that's why I'm taking them plus 7 versus the Colts. I think the Colts likely win this game in a close, low-scoring affair, but I think the Raiders can keep it within 7, and the Colts are just looking like a really good all-around team, and Geno Smith just keeps throwing picks, so not trusting the Raiders to win this game, but I'm taking them plus 7. I think they can cover that. Next game, I'm taking the Broncos plus 3.5 versus the Eagles. My thinking here is that the Eagles have to lose at some point, and why not to this frisky Broncos team that has a gritty defense. Bo Nix is coming into form. They run the ball well. J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey, Benito and defense, they're just pretty good all around. And the Eagles, it just feels like they're kind of due for a loss. Everything boiling with the A.J. Brown Bible verse, and them just winning like really close games that they probably shouldn't, but this is a tough pick. It's hard to go against the Eagles when they've got a great team and they just win pretty much every game they play. last couple years, but I'm taking the Broncos here, and I think they win this game outright. So Broncos plus 3.5. All right, next I am taking the Giants plus 1.5 against the Saints. Somehow the Saints are favored in this matchup, which my gambling brain is just telling me to take the Saints, because how are they favored in this game at all? But it just seems obvious that the Giants are going to win, and I'm just going to use Occam's razor, and the most likely explanation is what is going to happen. So I think the Giants are going to win this, even without Malik Neighbors. The Saints are just awfully run, and I don't think Spencer Rattler can, put together competent drives in order to beat the Giants' defense and that great pass rush. The front four is nasty, so I think Giants defense kind of controls this, and they cover that plus 1.5. Jackson Dart looks all right too, so, and they can run the ball with Scatterboo, so I'm taking Giants plus 1.5. All right, last game in the 1 p.m. window. Big game for the Ravens versus the Texans here. Cooper Rush is actually in for Lamar Jackson. He's in for the 1-3 Ravens, who their season's is getting early for them. That's for sure. And with Lamar Jackson likely out the next couple weeks, this is a big game for them. I am taking oh my god, Gary just knocked out Khalil Roundtree. Hold on, I gotta see this. Alright, yeah, that was crazy. Yuri just flatlined Khalil Roundtree. Great knockout, great win for Yuri right there. But yeah, getting back into ball, Texans Ravens, big game this weekend for both teams, really. Both 1-3, both must win for both teams, and I'm taking the healthier team, and that's the Texans, minus 2.5 here. So I'm just betting on that CJ Stroud, Nico Collins can figure out against the worst defense in the league, and Cooper Rush isn't Lamar Jackson, so I'm not really expecting much here. So I would be pretty surprised if the Ravens won this game, even though they are pretty well coached and they do have some talent, and Derrick Henry's always there, so there can always be a Derrick Henry 200-yard 3-touchdown game, something like that. But I'm taking the Texans here. I'm just betting on them and seeing if they can figure things out for the year. So Texans minus 2.5. All right, starting the 4 p.m. window. First game is the Cardinals versus the Titans. I'm not trusting the Titans at all right now. Like Cam Ward said, they're pretty ass. So I'm just going with what the franchise quarterback says. So the Cardinals are pretty bad too, but I just think they're going to beat the Titans by more than 10 here. And I just can't trust Brian Callahan as a head coach. So I'm not betting on the Titans and taking the Cardinals to cover that pretty big spread. But I think they can do it. Marvin Harrison Jr. kind of came back to life a little bit at the end of the game against the Seahawks last week on Thursday Night Football. So I think they can run the ball a little with DeMarcado and get the ball to their playmakers and, put up some points here against probably the worst team in the league. So not feeling too good about it, but, I'm taking the side that's not the Titans. So Cardinals minus 7.5. All right, next game. This is probably the game of the day. Maybe second best game of the day, but great game regardless. Seahawks-Bucs here. Two pretty solid teams. Both 3-1, I think. Yeah, both 3-1. Two playoff contenders in the NFC right now. Seahawks playing good ball. Sam Darnold's balling. Their defense is must-watch TV. And Bucks, Bake Show's putting on MVP performance so far. So the offense is clicking. Emeka Ibuka looks like a superstar. And, their defense is, just solid. They're always going to have a solid defense under Todd Bowles. So, great game here. But I am taking the Seahawks minus 3.5 here. I think they win this game by a touchdown. I think their offense is just clicking. JSN is looking really good. They can run the ball with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, and Bucky Irving's actually out for the Bucks this game. So he's a really explosive back, and I think they're going to miss him this game. So Rashad White isn't bad, but I don't think he can carry the workload entirely to, will them the victory. So Seahawks minus 3.5 in this game. Our next game is the Lions versus the Bengals. And I'm just going to take the Lions here and not think twice about it. Lions minus 10. Big spread here. But Lions just like to, put it on teams. And even when they're up big in the fourth quarter, Dan Campbell just runs it up on them. And they got a really, really explosive offense. Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra, obviously Demo and J-Mo. Really nice players on that Lions offense. And, they beat the Browns last week by 17. And Bengals, Drake Browning is not it. And, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins are, not the happiest campers over there. But they need a quarterback to get him the ball. And I don't think Drake Browning is doing what he did a couple years ago when he played 500 ball. But yeah, that's the reasoning why the Bengals aren't going to do much this year unless they trade for a quarterback, which they probably shouldn't, waste a draft pick on. But, this year is likely a waste anyway. So I'm taking the Lions minus 10. All right, last game for the 4 p.m. window is the Chargers versus the Commanders. This is a kind of a hard game to pick because don't really know what to expect from both of these teams. With the Chargers, you have injuries on their offensive line, which if you're a Charger fan, should worry you a bit because Justin Herbert was getting pressured a lot the last couple games against the Giants and then the Broncos. And they lost the Chargers. They lost the Giants one because Joe Alt went out, and obviously Rashawn Slater, their other tackle, was out before the year. So, they're missing their 2 cornerstone tackles, which is a huge problem for them. But I think they can still win this game, and I'm taking them minus 2.5 versus the Commanders. I think the Commanders' defense can be gotten a little bit. The Falcons played pretty well on them. They can run the ball. They used Bijan and Algier a lot last week. The Falcons did. So even with Jaden Daniels coming back, I think the Chargers will win this game by a touchdown and cover that 2.5. So I like the Chargers here in this spot. So Chargers minus 2.5. All right, we have this Sunday night football game. I am hyped about this game. It is the Patriots taking on the Bills. The Patriots are on the doorstep of destiny. Trademark Kevin Wildes, but yeah, the Patriots are exciting. It's an exciting time to be a Patriots fan. Drake Maye has looked solid. I think he is quarterback 5 in fantasy. So it's Lamar, Josh Lamar, Patrick, and then Caleb Williams, surprisingly, and Drake Maye. So, it's 3 of the aliens of the league, and then the two quarterbacks of last year's draft, second-year guys. So, pretty exciting. Time to be a Patriots fan. Seeing if this guy Drake Maye can become something. he looks pretty good. His throws are looking pretty solid. He's got a nice back shoulder. Stephon Diggs is getting a little bit more comfortable each week in the offense. And I like that he connected with Kayshon Boutte the first 3-4 weeks of the year. So he knows that he can use them, when time gets a little tough with Stephon in that relationship. And he's kind of building that same chemistry with Matt Collins. So I like that he has other options to throw to, like Hunter Henry as well. And so this is really a big test to kind of see where the Patriots are at the moment. As we know, the Bills have dominated this division for the last 6 years since Brady has left New England. So it'll be interesting to see if the Patriots can, kind of show that, they're back. And it is a big line, but I'm taking the Patriots here. I'm taking them plus 8.5 versus the Bills. I think they can definitely keep it close. I think they can possibly win the game. Travion, Antonio Gibson were more involved last week. I like that Josh McDaniels uses his backs out of the outfield a lot, kind of as a safety net for the quarterback to kind of dump it down and get that 6-7 yards. So they've been doing that a little bit more. I like how Drake has been looking on 3rd and longs. So I think they'll be able to move the ball on this Bills defense, which is, the Bills have been, competitive against even bad teams like the Saints and the Dolphins, which are, close games going down in the fourth quarter. So I think the Patriots are good enough with Mike Vrabel at the helm. They can muck it up on the defensive side. Drake Maye can throw a couple touchdowns, and I think the Patriots definitely keep it close. So I'm going Patriots plus 8.5 versus the Bills. All right, last game of the weekend on Monday Night Football, we got the Chiefs and the Jaguars. The Chiefs kind of, got their mojo back a little bit. The light show we got glimpses of it with Xavier Worthy coming back. He looked pretty good in that offense. And they're throwing the ball downfield a lot more. It's kind of crazy to see how much he opened up that offense. And, with Rashid Rice coming back as well from suspension next couple of weeks, I think the Chiefs are going to look like how they were supposed to. And on the other side of the ball, the Jaguars, the story of their season is actually their defense, which is kind of crazy because you would think it would be like Trevor Lawrence, Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, but their defense is actually 3rd in takeaways at 13, which is, pretty crazy. So, even if they win the turnover battle here, I kind of just seeing the Chiefs putting it on them. I think they're in 2 completely different weight classes. So I'm taking the Chiefs minus 3.5 on this Monday Night Football game, and I think the Jaguars are an okay team. I think they'll go, 8-9, 7-10. Kind of missed the playoffs by a couple games, but Trevor Lawrence hasn't really looked that great. But they've been stacking up some, nice wins. So you got to give them credit where it's due. I think Liam Cohen has been, coaching the team well. The defense is flying around, and yeah. Jaguars are okay, but Chiefs are the Chiefs, and I think they win this game and cover that 3.5. So Chiefs minus 3.5. All right, so those are my picks for Week 5. We got Corey Sandhagen walking out right now, Sandman, taking on Merab for the title, bantamweight title right here. I've been waiting for this fight for a while, honestly. I'm a big Corey Sandhagen fan. I don't know if he'll win the fight. I'm rooting for him. He's an exciting fighter to watch, man. But Merab's cardio and wrestling might make the difference. But yeah, they're walking out right now, and I'm excited to watch this fight. But Yeah, NFL Week 5 starts tomorrow. Waking up at 9:30 to watch that London game. Hopefully it's a good one. Dylan Gabriel first NFL start. But yeah. Next podcast, I think I'm going to do one on the Boston Celtics. Been writing a couple articles about their off season, that center spot. Hopefully, Kata can come in and play well for them. But I think I'm gonna do a Boston Celtics podcast, just talking about their off season. Jason Tatum possibly returning. Their lineup for next year. How JB, Derek White, Pritchard fit in, Anthony Simons, of course. So it'd be interesting going through their off season and just talking about the start of training camp and how they've been thinking about wanting to play next year and how I see their season panning out. So it's going to be a Celtics off-season discussion, little predictions here and there, but yeah, that's going to be the next podcast. But this was fun. NFL Week 5 predictions. If you're liking the podcast, subscribe to the channel. Follow the Instagram, the Spinning Rock Pod on Instagram. You can follow me at Oots135 on Instagram. And yeah, that's it for this episode. Until next time, peace.